Certificate of appropriateness, request by Jason Epinet, 2215 Beach, to make the following alterations to a property located at 2208 Beach. Replace the hipped roof with open gabled roof, remove and replace the roof, open up original porch, which was closed in, and construct a circle driveway.
Okay. He also, on there, if I didn't get on yours, it's on mine, relocate the front entry also. So this is the property, it's between 22nd and 23rd on Beach Street. It's zoned R3, as is the rest of the neighborhood. The original Sanborn maps show it as a dwelling. It's really had very few owners over the years. And this is the property. Mr. Epinet, who is here, wants to open up this, just this porch roof right here that's hipped and put in an open gabled roof right there. The original roof needs to be replaced, as they often do with these older homes, with updated architectural shingles. Now, it appears on this house that this was originally an open porch and was enclosed. So he would like to reopen this porch back up, and this is the inside of what would have been that porch, and you're going to move the opening, the front door to this.
That's the original.
This is the original front door to the house, so he's going to move it back over there. And he is here. Any questions for me? Still my question.
Yeah. Jason Epinet, and I live at 2215 Beach Street.
All right, so that's the front.
Yeah, you can see, is there a little laser pointer? How do
Yeah,
I
right
use
there.
that?
That-
This little
That
thing?
right there's the-
So you can see across here, this is the line of the original porch, and so I don't know what year they took that in. I'm guessing the 1960s probably, because they have windows that would meet a similar architectural look to the original house that would have been built in the teens or the early 20s. And it's a useless little weird space when you walk in the front. It's an odd deal, and there's no porches on this house, so I really want to be able to put a porch back to it, and this would just be, you know, the best opportunity to do it, get rid of that stuff and put that porch back to the way it was. But I would like to vault that ceiling so you can see where the rafter tails come down. I really want to continue that look going all the way up to the peak, so that when you walk on the porch, it's a taller ceiling to it. But I would like to change that gable facing beach to have like a crossed, I guess, gable truss or whatever you want to, whatever
More of a
terminology.
decorative element.
Ma'am?
Like, it's a decorative element.
A
not
decorative
part of
element,
the-
yeah, exactly. It's just a decorative. Yeah, there it is. So that's the look that I'm trying to achieve right there.
Just on the front of the porch?
Just on that front, yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Not changing the width, not changing the depth. We're not going to change the rafters. I have no.
Okay, so you're not changing the roof line at all. You're just
none.
opening it up from the
Only
other side.
only that little crisscrossed
Yeah.
gable front. It's currently got that little hip roof that sticks down on it, and as these houses do over the years, that left column has fell about 3 inches. So now the roof is sloping down, so I've got to fix that anyway, and it would just give me the opportunity when I fix that to put the gable look to the front of it.
And you did tell me you are keeping the windows.
Keeping all the original windows. I have no plans to change any of that, but I do want to change that roof to an architectural shingle roof. There's nothing super special about that roof. I actually put that roof on there for that lady, I think, in 2009. It was shortly after a big storm that had come through Texarkana, and she needed it, and I put that on there for her, and that's just a 3-tab, nothing special roof, so.
Any other questions? Is there, thank you, Mr. Epinette. Is there anyone from the audience who'd like to comment on this item? Come up and please state your name for the record.
Jeff Brown, I live at 2217 Laurel. I think it's a good idea what he wants to do, opening up the porch. I think the roof line, the purpose of your job is to keep these houses looking the way they looked. To me, the roof line is an element already, and I'm sure what he wants to do would be attractive on a new house someplace else, but I think keeping it, the roof line, the original, instead of trying to make it this year and in 10 or 20 years, you're like, oh, why did they do that? Why didn't they keep it the original hip roof? He is going to have to alter the roof at the very front to pitch it, to make the hip, to make the peak. But I agree with opening the porch up. I think that will be an asset. But I think y'all let people do too many things, as in changing windows and maybe, I don't know of everything, but anyway, in my opinion, I think.
Can we roll that back to the sketch?
That is not in keeping with what this house is. I know he'll do beautiful landscaping and do a lot of other stuff that'll make it beautiful, but to me, that roof is kind of trying to make it into something that it's not.
Can I say something?
Sure.
This is not a hill that I'm going to die on. So if you don't want to allow that, that's fine. I can still get the vaulting that I want from the underside of it and keep that hip roof across the front. It's not.
I think the vaulting inside is fine. It's just the front where you see it. To me, that takes what takes away.
So it's, like I said, this is not a hill that
So
I'm
I'm looking
die
at the
on.
sketch, and I happen to notice the picture of the house next to it on one of the other things. On one of the other pictures, you've got gables within the neighborhood everywhere. There's nothing,
There are hip roofs.
there are hip roofs, but there's also gables. The one right here, you look at the house
Yeah.
directly beside it, it's got gable on it.
That's how that one was built.
Right.
With a gable roof. But that one was built with a hip roof. With all the little tails, and little tails are cut in the little. It'll be attractive with the porch open.
Yeah, I definitely think that's,
So I like that, in keeping with the house, it does have a hip roof and always had a hip roof.
So what I'm sensing is some uncomfortableness about the gable
Right.
and the cross members. You say this is not a hill that you want to,
I mean,
so you can do the same.
I would like to do it, but it's not a thing that I have to do. It's
Okay.
I can do what I want to do from the interior of it to get the ceiling vaulted up, to get a little more height in there. So from the street, if the neighborhood wants to keep the aesthetic the way it is, we can leave that alone and live with it.
So you'd be willing to keep the roof as is, open it up from the inside and open up the porch?
We'll still
Correct.
have the tails coming down.
Still have the rafter tails coming down.
Any other discussion? Anyone from the audience like to make any other comments? Okay, so, I'll entertain a motion to accept the application for work on opening the porch. And the other work with the exception of opening up the roof. Is that detailed enough?
Well, it's, build it back as a gabled.
Gabled roof.
Yes.
Right. But all other items in the application would be approved?
Yes.
Okay, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion.
Second?
Okay, if we could vote, roll call?
Randy Henry,
Yes.
Wait a minute, what are we voting on then?
Just open up the porch.
Opening up the porch and the other work on the porch with the exception of changing the roof
Except-
line.
okay.
A new roof, a new.
so
So the only thing we're not approving is
The decorative part.
converting the hip roof on the porch.
The arch- yeah, the
Correct,
architectural
correct,
style.
yeah.
and for clarification, you are including constructing a circle driveway.
We haven't discussed the driveway. I have no problem with the driveway.
That's highly important for me,
Yeah,
to be
that's-
able to do that, because that's like the worst little driveway ever that pulls in there. You can't get a car in and out of that current driveway, and it really is non-existent. At some point, they had poured some asphalt, and it runs from the curb maybe 30 feet towards the house, but the grass and dirt have totally covered it. So you can see the front, I think that's my pickup parked there. That's about the extent of the existing asphalt. That's where it went to.
Is there a
And-
picture of what you want to do with the,
No, but, I mean, you would just
Okay.
have to picture a circle drive, and then I'm going to put the sidewalks, I'm going to tie the city sidewalks back into that. So I want a continuous sidewalk, and full disclosure, I own the house to the left and to the right of it. So I'm going to extend those sidewalks further out and replace all those broken, crumbling sidewalks that go back,
How about
probably.
the big tree, it would wrap around the tree?
Well, you're right, kind of.
Basically.
Yes, there is an oak tree there in the front of the house. Now, there was also a pine tree right at the edge of the driveway entry point. I took that pine tree out because it had already heaved up part of the curb of the street. So, but I'm keeping the oak tree, but I want to start it where the existing entry point for the current drive is, and then I want to loop that around and exit out on the other side of that oak tree. And it'll look fantastic, but that alleviates parking problem, turnaround problem, in and out. And Beach Street is already, well, every street in our neighborhood is super narrow, so if you've got cars parked, it is a pain in the rear to drive through there.
but it does begin on your existing driveway
It's going to
path.
begin at the
Yeah.
existing, and then I'm going to exit out before we get to the property line that defines that house from the one on the corner. Although I own all three of them. I mean, they're all three mine, but
Mr. Brown, do you have something else?
Well, I just am curious that I'm all for him doing this driveway. But since you just said it's important for you to do it, I'm curious as to why you didn't have at least some sort of a sketch so people could get a little better visual of how it would be. And I don't know your timeframe, but it seems like, you could come up with a schedule.
Yeah.
So they could approve it kind of with a better sense of what you want to do.
what say you?
It
What
would,
do y'all think about that? You want to consider the driveway separately?
it would stay on that property. It wouldn't go over to the
Absolutely,
next
stays
house.
on that property, and it would be, the interior, can I have that little thing back? So the interior of the circle would probably follow, along here, so it would be it'd probably be closer to 4 feet away from that existing, sidewalk edge, so that would be the interior edge of it, and then the outside would come up to there. It would be 12 foot wide, which would be a standard width of a circular drive.
Would you mind coming up and, we've got this great diagram here, you could like sketch it on the map, we could look at it. So the driveway already shown.
So it would, the current drive is going to come about here. So what I'm proposing to do is take this thing around like this, kind of exit back out over here. That is a very rough sketch.
And then you have a sidewalk going up to the
Somewhere in
front.
here is a big oak tree. Yes, the sidewalk will stay going to the front, and then I'm going to tie these sidewalks back in. These are badly damaged.
But you're just going to resurface those. Okay.
So I don't.
You want to look at it?
I don't see anything historically how this driveway is going to affect the property.
Is that something that the city has to approve to change a driveway, like the width and all that? I mean,
Probably, he'll need to talk to Roger when he gets his building permits and all that, but
because I know
they
that,
don't have to approve it.
Jeff, would you like to look at what I just
It is
drew
part of
on
our
there?
guidelines, though.
Can he look at that little?
Sure. Anyone who'd like to look at this sketch, if you'd like to, want to take it to the rail?
Come to this board to have, you know, not just say, oh, I'm gonna do it this way and that way.
Right,
Well,
which
then
is a
when it's
very
done-
valid point,
And then when it's
yes.
done, it's not that way. And nobody's gonna make anybody undo something.
So this is roughly what it's gonna be.
And that's supposed to be what.
That's correct.
I mean, I'm for you putting the driveway in, I'm not, I just think that it's not totally due diligence on their part to not see a sketch and not require, you know, knowing exactly what somebody's gonna do.
Which is a very good point, yes.
I mean, the last time I was up here, and she's not here, but they wanted to put a fence in the neighborhood, and she's like, oh, I think it'll look nice. Well, she didn't say, she'd tell the person in the house.
right.
I don't think that's, I mean, I'm not saying she didn't think it would look nice, but you should reveal, you know, connections and things.
On the layout, what you're saying, wooden pallets layout, but he's getting, real pallets,
Right.
that he's gonna use to do the fence. He has other things yet, and that was my answer.
Well, that's a separate issue for now, but that is a very good point, and thank you for making it. We could treat that part of this application as a separate thing and have separate application for that, or we could include it in the vote for this application, the amended application, and state that it's based on this sketch.
And you also have to take it from who it's coming from. We all know Jason Epinette pretty well. We know that he does really good work. He's done several houses in the neighborhood. He cares about the neighborhood. And I feel comfortable with him approving it like it is.
I do as well.
Okay.
I have personally put about $1.2 million into the renovation work in that historic district. So we've done several houses, and
Is there anyone else who'd like to comment, or anyone who needs to see the sketch?
We look forward to the renovation and the restoration of the home.
All right.
I've gone through it and I'm excited about.
It's a nice home, I was in it.
Okay, so I'll entertain a motion to approve the application, the items in the application with the exception of changes to the roof, and with the amendment of the sketch that we have here for the circular driveway. Is that detailed enough? Okay.
And I'll make a motion to accept that.
Second.
Okay, roll call?
Randy Henry,
Yes.
Dave Jones,
Yes.
Greg Gallagher,
Yes.
and Jamie Simmons.
Yes. Okay. All right.
Good.
That the
Thank you.
motion has been approved, and so you can proceed.
I guess you're up.
All right. Sorry, I'm getting back to my agenda here. All right. The next item is certificate of appropriateness requested by Ethan Epinette, 2020 Laurel Street, to construct a two-story flat roof side porch on the south side of the property located at 2020 Laurel. Mr.
So this property is owned by Jason's son, and it's on Laurel, and what is that street right there? I can't see. 21st? Yeah, and this is the house, you guys will know it when you see it. It sits way back off the road. Most likely, it was originally built as an accessory building. So the house is, work with me here. Okay. In the original Sanborn maps from 1928, there's no structure on the property. It's had several owners over the years. Now, this is the property now. Some of you may remember in like 1920, we redid this property, we added this dormer.
I don't think I remember.
2020?
2020, sorry.
I don't think any of us are
I'm
that
still
old.
stuck on the Sanborn map.
Yeah.
I think it was in 2020, because I know I was here then. We added this dormer window, we added these two windows, we added this window, we added this window, we added this front porch, and we took out two windows over here. And we also took this fence down, and there was a deck here. So this property really has nothing historic left about it. It's been significantly redone. What they want to do is construct a two-story porch. This is the original house. That was before we bought it, before we redid it. So what they want to do is construct a two-story, it's really a two-story porch on the end of the property where that original deck was, something similar to this, but they're not going to enclose the bottom of it. And they are also, we are going to go ahead and discuss adding French doors up top to access the top of the deck. And there is a window there right now anyway, so.
And it's an uncovered deck.
It would be, yeah, you're not going to enclose it, right? No, it would be similar to this one that was on Doris Davis's house. Diana Lowe's house. Wrong
The
house.
Doris is covered.
I should just stay home today. It's the holidays. And I assume you're going to do the work.
I guess I have a question about privacy for the, like for the alley, for. 'cause that
There's no
house is-
backyard to this house at all.
We're jammed right up against the, once you set up, tell who you are, and then I can.
I'm Ethan Epinette. I live at 2020 Laurel Street, Texarkana, Arkansas. So the purpose really for us on doing a porch on the side of this house is there's no outdoor living space at all anywhere out there to be able to spend any time. The backyard's just, it's just not very usable currently. So we want to do this like on Miss Lowe's house right here, something similar. In the future, we could put a door up there and we could do a deck. I'm not necessarily, that's not necessarily something that's a deal breaker to me. The main purpose is I want to have the bottom story to be able to go out there and sit and have some friends over and basically keep it as an entertainment space. The top deck, I would be okay with having that, but that's not necessarily like a major deal breaker for me.
I can answer questions now related to construction.
So the French doors is going downstairs. You mentioned French
No,
doors. That
there,
was-
no, there's actually a door currently there that will get onto that lower level porch. But if you go back to the photo of, oh, I took your deal. Go back to that photo of, okay, that's it. So. Go one more over to the next one. There's a door there, and that currently leads to that lower level porch. But if I could have that. The proposal, and this isn't anything that we're going to do right now, but we're thinking about taking that window out and making a French door that will lead out of that room onto the second deck. area.
But that's not part of this application. You're just considering that for the
Well,
future.
I'd kind of like to have a go on it so that when they want to do it, we can just get a permit and do it.
Well, that's something that I think you need to have, like, apply for that. We're going to need to see examples and style. I don't feel comfortable voting on that as part of this application.
Is the add-on porch the full width of the?
It is. It goes all the way across the end of the house and 15 feet out. So I don't know how to work all this stuff. You go back to that sketch.
Could you bring it in a few feet to make it look a little bit more like the Lowe's? Like a lot of our houses had sleeping porches, porches off of the main body of the house. Can you go back to the photo of the Lowe's house? Which I think,
How big do you think that porch is right there?
well, I mean, I don't have a problem with the size of it. I was just saying offset it a little bit. I know where you want to put that door is almost to the end of your house. But I was just, I mean, even if you offset it maybe a foot or two, I mean, a foot and a half or.
Well,
Just for the-
it'll actually, if you go back to the photo of the home, you can see how that protrudes, see that protrusion there of that second story? It overhangs about 14 inches on the front and the back. So the porch will actually set back even with the front face of the home here. It'll sit even with this, and this second story protrudes out slightly.
So it overhangs in the front, does it overhang on the end also?
Yeah, front and back.
On the back
It's
side of the
it's
house?
an odd thing. It just,
On the end, does it overhang all the way across the end? Or is it, it's hard for me to see from that photo.
well, so the full second story of the home has that, it's a shadow line, and it hangs out about 14 inches on the front and 14 inches on the back, and it goes all the way across, all the way across. I don't know why they did that. It's an odd looking thing, but I guess the point I'm making is we're going to make the porch even with the lower level of the house, not the upper level. So it will look like it sets back 14 inches, but they need that full width across the rear of the house for storage. They just got furniture and things that they want to put out there and have a nice entertainment patio, and they need the full.
Open or closed?
It's totally open. However, on the front of it, we will make like a louvered looking blind, but it's a wood blind that's painted white, that's in keeping with the house. So I'm not gonna have, in other words, I'm not gonna have that privacy fence running across the porch. I'm going to stop it at the column leg of the porch, then make a decorative louvered looking blind that covers the street-facing side of the porch.
I mean, the reason I'm asking so many questions is the front porch that I assume you had in mind and the doors are not appropriate to the house and don't look,
Yeah, none of that was existing to begin with, so
well, those doors weren't existing.
that's
And
correct.
And
That front stoop was not on there. Yeah,
Right.
the gable wasn't on there.
Right, I mean, it's similar to what you wanted to do to that other house,
Mm-hmm.
and it's, I mean, I'm not saying it's unattractive, but it's not period to the neighborhood.
Well, Jeff, there really wasn't anything particularly awesome about that house and the way that it looked. If it had been architecturally, I would have been fine to keep with it, but it was just like three little boxes stacked together.
Well, I'm not saying the doors didn't need to be changed, or
Right.
that they could have been changed with something that looked like the 1920s or 1930s. What's more, I mean, I think you do when it's work
Yeah.
and high quality, and, I'm certain it's not, I mean, I'm pro you doing stuff.
Right.
So, Mr. Jason, let me ask you a question.
Sure.
Because you've muddied the water a little bit. Are we asking for a balcony? Are we asking for a porch? Those are two different things.
Well, so I think at this point, this is a little bit of a budgetary concern
Sure.
for these young folks. They really cannot, at this point, afford to make that a full walkout second-story patio. So all they want to do is construct this structure, put the handrails around it, and in the future, they want to be able to walk out onto that porch from the second story.
so
But
from-
that's a future project,
Sure,
not a
if you
today.
didn't have that door there, which is the door is what
Well, so,
differentiates between the balcony or the porch,
yes.
and whatever you do the top in, obviously, but nobody's seeing
So,
that.
in the future, when they get ready to do that, then I guess we would have to come back and go, hey, we want to take this window out and put a door in to walk out onto that porch from
Right.
the second story. But it's never going to be covered. I'm never going to put a roof over it. It's just going to be an open, kind of sleeping style porch, as Jeff had mentioned. That's,
So
that's
do you
what it
feel
is.
comfortable with us voting on the porch, not the balcony today?
I'm fine with that. I think
Okay.
he's fine with that.
And there's, I'm not seeing anything else in the application other than that structure. that
That's correct.
Addition.
That is correct.
Okay. Is there any other discussion? Anyone else from the audience would like to ask questions?
I mean, for the record, I do think if they offset it at least
If-
from the front.
Jeff, if you can come forward and state your name.
Jeff Brown, for the record, I mean, I'm for them doing this, but I do think if it were offset from the front, just set back a little bit, it would make it look a little bit more period and like it had been there all along.
Just offset it from the front, is what, you're saying from the front, offset it.
Yeah, just let it go, set it back even a foot or.
I think
Well-
that is the plan anyways,
It-
because
Yeah, I
of the
was-
way the overhang
It
is all-
technically is, because hold it,
Well, you also have a window there. How far is the window from the front of the house?
So the porch is going to start at this line and go to this back line. So the upper level hangs over 14 inches, just like this looks here. But the porch will connect to this end. So it's still going to have some dimension.
And that'll be on both sides of it, so there will be 14 inches in from that top section on both
From the
sides.
top section.
And obviously, this house has been altered, it's kind of changed into a different
I think
historical-looking
so.
house.
Yeah, I think at one time it had, behind that vinyl siding, it had the old wood lap siding on it, and at some, I don't know when this siding was put on there,
Yeah.
20 years ago maybe.
Any other discussion or questions?
How close is that window on the corner to the corner? On the, where the deck is?
On the front corner right there, it's about, I think it's about 16 inches probably. It's not far. It's pretty close.
It's
About a
pretty
foot.
tight, yeah. Yeah, I bet it's not more than a foot away. We would really like to keep that full width across that lower level.
All right. Any other questions or discussion? If not, we'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve it.
A second.
Roll call?
Randy Henry,
Yes.
Dave Jones,
Yes.
Greg Gallagher,
Yes.
Jamie Simmons.
Yes. Okay, that's approval for your application, so you can proceed. Thank you very much.
Thank you, guys. Y'all have a good day.
Okay. All righty, the next item on our agenda is a discussion of the updated Historic District Commission bylaws.
So I sent those all to y'all. Our ordinance says they have to be presented at one meeting and voted on the next meeting.
Okay.
So
We're formally
They are
presenting them at this meeting.
being formally presented, they are based on what we discussed in our workshop, so
If there's anything that we want to look at closely, a correction or anything like, would there be another workshop? Or is
we-
this what
if-
it is?
Well, we can always have another workshop. I mean, if you just have one thing, if it's just one thing that we can hash out in a meeting, then we can do that. I mean, we're just presenting them today for you to look at and make sure they say what you want them to say. If we come in here in December, January, and you have something you want to change, then you can present it then, and we can vote on changing it then, and then we can represent them, and,
So this will go on as long as we need it.
yeah,
to,
it'll
but
go
we
on
can
as
make
long as you need to.
changes
But if,
today,
I mean, if
yeah.
we end up that we've got 10 things we want to change, then we probably need to have another workshop.
Yeah. Well, I've read through it a couple of times after I received the packet, and all of the changes we discussed at that workshop were implemented. I don't know if y'all have had a chance to look at it.
Well, if you haven't, you've got a month at least.
To do that.
Right, and right now, we don't have anything for December, so we may,
We don't need to read it out publicly, do we?
No, no,
just
no.
Make it available and
no.
present
And
it
this
here.
doesn't even get voted on by the board, we just have to give them a copy of it. But if you read over it the next month, and if you have any changes, then we'll look at those next time we meet. So I
Y'all want a
think the
few
only,
minutes to look over it? Did you have something you wanted to bring out?
I agree, everything that we talked about in the workshop was implemented in it, and I only read over it once, I didn't go through it with a fine tooth comb.
oh, that's okay.
I was wanting to see the procedure.
I have to read
in it.
twice so I don't miss anything, but.
Right, yeah, we
But there
can.
again, we have a
But yeah.
month.
Yeah,
You have a
there's
month to
still
look
time
it over, that's why they're presented, and then you have time to look it over, and then we can either approve it next month, or we can amend it again, and, I mean, we can keep doing that as long as we need to.
Are the proposed changes available to the public to look at ahead of time? I mean,
No, but I can make them.
that's what I mean.
But
like,
we
can they come to your office and
They
get a
can, or we
copy?
can post them on, we have a Facebook page.
Okay, okay.
So, we also talked about some ordinance changes at the workshop. I didn't put those in this packet because it's the holidays and we had a whole bunch of them. So, I still have those and we will still get those done, but they were nothing that was critical that needed to be done before the first of the year. So,
Oh, okay, so we could probably look at that in January.
yeah, we'll look at those.
Okay.
Unless y'all want to have a special meeting just to vote on the bylaws and, I don't think so.
Not this time of year.
Okay, so we still need to elect a chairman and a vice chairman. Do we want to wait till we have a full board?
Personally, I prefer till we're everyone, as many
Okay.
people as possible are here. I think that's more fair.
Okay, we currently have one vacancy. So if you're okay with it, I will go to the board and have them review the applicants that they've had on file. So when you apply, it's good for a year.
I think that's a great idea. Do we need to vote on that?
No.
Okay,
I
yeah.
mean, we don't
I think
have
it's
any
a good
say in who gets the board, you know, we don't have any say anyway, so.
But there are already applicants that can be considered.
I know there's at least two.
Okay, that's good, yeah.
So, and Velvet has posted it on our Facebook page that there's a vacancy open, so.
Okay. So personally, I'd feel more comfortable, especially if we could get that vacancy filled, to have everyone here to vote on something like
Okay.
that.
That works for me. Jason, hang on one second. Hang on one second. I don't have anything else, except happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving to you. Okay, so that's it for staff comments. Is there anything,
Oh, I need to make a staff comment.
okay, yes.
Most of you that are on the board already know this, but for the public, I wanted everybody to know that our Jamie Simmons, who has served with our commission for so long, has been granted an award by the Preserve Arkansas Foundation. So, a very prestigious award.
You get a trip.
We're proud of her.
All right,
That's all
anything
I have.
else? Thank you. Is there anything else? Would you like, anybody from the audience like to say anything during the meeting? Okay, if not, the next meeting is December 18th, Tuesday at 9. Is it supposed to be Tuesday, December 18th? Shouldn't that be a Wednesday?
What?
The next scheduled meeting, in my packet, it says December 18th, Tuesday at 9:30.
That will be a Tuesday,
December Okay.
18th is a Wednesday. I mean, it will be a Wednesday.
Wednesday, okay, all right,
Because there's, I don't know why, so let me look.
okay.
It may be that the board meeting is getting pushed to Tuesday that week,
Okay.
which will push us to Wednesday.
When you have a minute, can you double check that and just
Yes,
email
if
us?
we even have a meeting.
Yeah, I mean, we might not have
I won't be
anything.
able to attend the next one, so I can tell you up front.
Okay. All right, if there's nothing else, then I'll hear a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion to adjourn.
A second.
All right, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Thank you, everyone. We appreciate